another TVZ to wet your TVZ whistles. And we'll see how this one goes. I'd be favoring DemiLove pretty heavily in this series.
Yeah, absolutely.
DemiLove is, you know, a tried and true tournament veteran. RunaMoK, not so much. He's been around. RunaMoK has been around for a very, very long time. But this is not something I would favor him.
No, not at all. DemiLove has been going from strength to strength, and in the last year really has been making a name for himself. I'd actually say if I had to find like the heartbreak story of the up-and-coming pro gamer, it's kind of DemiLove in all of the qualifiers last year, where there was a lot of narrow misses from making it through to that top 4, that top 2. But I think he's never given up, and he's constantly kind of getting stronger, and he's getting more respect from pro players on ladder in their practice. And of course, RunaMoK, a player who's dabbled in Overwatch a little bit recently, very busy,
really?
you know, studying and working, all that sort of stuff. So I was actually a little bit surprised to see him just destroying the ladder a bit more recently, getting back into a pretty good form. But against DemiLove here, it's going to be a very tough match for him.
Yeah, DemiLove's his best matchup, I would have to say, is ZvT. Unfortunately, he didn't get to you know, show his true strength against Aigis there in that last series. Aigis kind of tore him apart there in game number 1 and 2. But
wasn't expecting that in game 2 as well. Like the Ravens weren't doing anything. He was like, I'm gonna wound an Overlord here. You got like 2 Overlords that got wounded by an auto turret, and I was just shaking my head thinking, this is not what you want. The first Banshee killed nothing, but then that Hellbat Marine attack just struck in, caught DemiLove by surprise without enough Banelings there, and Aigis, he managed to close it out, and you know, that really is the Aigis that we've been expecting. Just so decisive, so powerful, doesn't really get shaken up in these settings, and I think DemiLove hopefully isn't too shaken by that loss himself. I think he really should be going through just very confident against RunaMoK, and as long as he doesn't second guess himself too much, it should be a reasonably straightforward victory.
I would imagine that, you know, losing a series in a tournament like this is obviously disappointing, even against someone that he's played so many times. But I would still say for DemiLove that his confidence would be in place still against RunaMoK. There's no way that he would be feeling like he's overwhelming favorite in this match coming up here in the losers bracket. Of course, this is an elimination match, so if either player does lose, they are excused from the tournament and will have to try again next season. But the winner gets to go through to tomorrow's games, because this is the last series of the day. And then Sunday, we're going to be starting same time, same place, same channel, and it's going to be the round of 8 to see who goes through to WCS Jönköping.
You know, I was watching the previous set from DemiLove's point of view, out back, sitting next to our observer, and I was just on the backup PC, and I was really impressed with how DemiLove was really on top of his scouting. If you noticed, there's constantly those Overlords going around with Overlord speed. He was kind of sitting on pieces of high ground to dodge like those Cyclone lock-ons in that first game. The Zerglings were darting about. So I think DemiLove here is showing he's really kind of on top of that let's make sure nothing surprises me mode. But I think it was kind of very interesting to see Aigis bring out that very surprising mech build, the Cyclone Hellion, and I think that actually worked so well. It almost felt like he cornered DemiLove's vision to his side of the map, and then he just went for that one big roach attack. It almost worked, but didn't turn out to be the right one.
Yeah, it was very, very close there. It felt like maybe like 2 or 3 units would have made the difference there in the end. If he cracked Aigis during, you know, before +3 finished in, before that Cyclone count got replenished as well, because, you know, the tanks were there by themselves for a little while.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to stop that third. Just tanks on their own aren't so great, but the Cyclones, just in the nick of time there for Aigis, managed to get the DPS he needed to shred those roaches with +2 attack. But
there was the moment as well, the ramp. There's always that moment, and I've had this so many times. So like, I can break the mech player with Roach Ravager, and then you kind of like, there's only two or three tanks left. I've just got to go up this little choke point to get to them, and suddenly like 12 roaches die to 1 tank volley, and your eyes go wide as a Zerg player, and you start freaking out a little bit, and you're like, oh, there go my hopes and dreams.
Well, hopes and dreams are still alive, and let's have a look here for these players. We have got Probe and Cedar in the round of 4 already in the winners bracket. No surprises there. And Maverick, unfortunately, a little bit of a disappointing series from him, going down 2-0 to Crimson, and he'll be facing Aigis next. Now, that's a matchup from the old days, man. Crimson versus Aigis. I feel like I've been seeing that one since the beginning of StarCraft 2.
Of course, these guys will be on tomorrow when we will go through these powerhouse matches. Probe and Seether, I'm especially excited for.
Yeah, that's going to be huge.
I had those guys play a little show match kind of series recently where they had a bit of back and forth. And Probe was showing some very powerful mid-game oriented play, but Seether seemed to be steadily kind of figuring him out as they went. So it's going to be really cool to see who can actually take that on. Of course, lower on in the lower bracket, Azure is someone I'm still looking forward to hopefully making a good run. Still a chance for a few of these players. I think he's still in it, Azure, right? Or actually,
Well, we'll be able to find out in a second.
We'll find out in a moment.
It says round of 4 at the top there, but that is actually that's still round of 8 because it's round of 4 of the winners bracket. We still have a losers bracket.
Or I guess
as well.
technically it's top 6. It gets kind of confusing with upper and lower because you have kind of a split bracket with the way they go down. So those players in the top 4 are guaranteed top 6, which means they already get a nice little prize purse in terms of that prize money.
That's money.
Yep. And if, of course, you win there, well, you're in the upper finals. You're guaranteed top 3 from there. So, yeah, it's pretty fantastic. If you win, of course, the upper finals, that's when you're guaranteed top 2. So it's always like you need to win a lot of games in a double elimination format. It's not you get a lucky 2 or 3 sets and you're through. You've got to beat just about everyone that's good. And yeah, that's what, of course, Probe, Seether, Igaz, I think they're the top 3 favorites going into the tournament. They're already in the top 4 of the upper bracket, so no surprises there.
And when we get to the business end of tomorrow, or the business end of this tournament in general, we, of course, this season, just to remind you guys, have 2 slots from this region going through to WCS Jönköping for the season final there. So instead of just the 1, which we have had in previous years, which is fantastic for our region. And this is, of course, also for thousands of dollars.
Oh,
so let's not forget that there's prize money. We're going to have a big explosive finale in the end of the day. Even when we have our top 2, those top 2 that are going to Jönköping will face off for about $1,000 difference.
Exactly.
So it's going to be a big match at the end of the day as well. So stuff's just going to go from strength to strength as the tournament goes forward.
I remember last season, Igaz was like, I'm going to Austin. This is awesome. Yeah. And he's like, oh, what? I already started drinking my whiskey. Apparently, I need to play another match. And I'm like, Igaz, there's another like $1,500 on the line for who wins the next match. And he's like, oh, whatever. Nah, it's all right.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that's a lot of money, man. But yeah, Probe ended up being very decisive back there last season. And now, I don't know why. I'm just kind of feeling it for Igaz. I think when a guy's been around as long as Igaz has, I think you get a good amount of ego and you expect great things, but there's also a bit of laxness that happens. You've been playing the game for 7 years, and you sometimes go through a period where you go, you know what? Probe, this young upstart, knocked me off my pedestal last season. I'm going to come back. I'm going to train really hard for this one.
This is the region where Igaz has been making most of his money, like from here, from Premier League, from these qualifiers, and from, you know, you also get, of course, on top of these qualifiers, you get money for going, just showing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Overseas as well on top of that. And he will always go on his trip if he qualifies. He's not one of those guys that's like, no, I don't feel like it. He will always go.
Oh, yeah.
So
he's traveled a lot at this point.
He has, yeah. He's well traveled. But I think we're going to actually have to have a short break here. I'm not sure what's happening with the game, but we're just going to take a couple minutes here and just see what's going on. But don't go away, guys, because the final match of the day between DemiLove and RunaMoK is just around the corner. We'll see you then.
Today, we retake our homeworld. And with it, our legacy.
G'day guys, welcome back. We are all ready to start the series. RunaMoK was in a custom game, and we just got a hold of him, and we're good to go.
Yeah, he was just doing the old tennis maneuver where they say, "Oh, there's a mysterious pain in my knee. I just need 7 minutes to gather my breath and get ready a little bit." Just kidding, of course. Sometimes it's hard to get in touch with your games. Sometimes the bracket's not updated. You refresh it. You think, "Oh, my match isn't ready. Let's hop into a custom game to prepare." And unfortunately, as is the nature with online events, you tab out to 17 Skype messages, 3 missed calls on your phone, and a lot of angry admins. But
yeah, I think we've been there with you before at several tournaments.
A couple times. May have had a little reputation myself back in the day.
Yeah. It was the pig toilet breaks that we loved. The,
yes.
The wobbly table meme from back in the day. That
too much adrenaline, too many wobbly tables, and way too many energy drinks, man. What can I say?
You're a good soul, pig. All right, we've got RunaMoK and DemiLove here for our final match to see who goes through to that round of 8 tomorrow.
It's going to be a good match here for DemiLove to redeem himself. And RunaMoK, of course, a player who always comes in with surprises, but he's got his work cut out for him.
That's right, he's going to have to go up against this guy, this Indian Mountain Terror Zerg from OSC Root. It is DemiLove.
The Mountain Terror Zerg. I think a nickname has just been coined right now.
He's a big lad. I've seen pictures of DemiLove. He's not a guy I'd want to wrestle, put it that way. I'd lose pretty badly. In the top left here, I think from Rival. Yes, it is from Rival Esports. This is RunaMoK. He streams as well, I believe. You want to get yourself a new Australian Terran streamer. There's a couple of them out there.
I haven't even seen that skull decal before next to that command center. That's pretty cool.
That's edgy, man.
Yeah. Looks kind of like a Terminator skull or something. Not too bad. Of course, RunaMoK will be wanting to RunaMoK in the Zerg Mineral Lines this game.
Someone get this guy out of here and put Zeph. Put Zeph back. You can't make puns like that. No, it's just fine. But
we need an adult in here at some point.
Sometimes when a guy's like bashing out customs before a series where he's not really favored, I kind of feel like he's practicing something really horrific. Like something that you know. A special build. A special build. Special tactics.
Yes.
That said, though, everything looks pretty solid, rock standard here from RunaMoK so far. It's I think it was Rax gas.
It was a gas first, so you know he's going to open up his tech, and there's 1,000 ways this could go. And I definitely agree with you there, Maynard. You know, you're doing a weird build. Maybe you don't do it on ladder that much. You want to crank it out a few times to try and tighten it up. And RunaMoK is a player, if you don't disturb him, he perfects his build. He memorizes them, he perfects it down to the tiniest detail. But I feel like his weakness and where he does never perform above his level is the moment the opponent starts messing with him. Little run-bys, little counterattacks, anything to disrupt his rhythm or kind of pull his attention away. And I feel he starts to flounder. But if DemiLove kind of just sits back defensively, I think RunaMoK could show us some very impressive play.
Yeah, we'll see if it gets to that point. We do know that DemiLove is one of those players that when he senses weakness, he just doesn't stop. He'll continue to hit your sore spot until you go down. So we have the Reaper expand here from RunaMoK. The Reaper getting not through the middle of the map, not going as fast as possible. He's going around the edges here. Checking the watchtowers, looking out for lings or anything like that if he needs to go home. This is what, Maverick's Reaper wasn't doing in the series against Crimson. Of course, it certainly wasn't. That's what RunaMoK is paranoid about. A couple Zerglings, even as few as 2, can slow that command center down a lot and really mess up your build order. But RunaMoK going to be very careful with that, not wanting to sacrifice the resources for the SCV scout. And I believe DemiLove is going to get 2 Zerglings across that map just a bit later to have a look around and see what the follow-up tech is. But once again, Overlord speed for DemiLove. He loves to have this information. And this is actually so rare, I think, in Zerg vs. Terran outside of Korea right now. But he loves to know what's going on, to see everything that's coming, and to take any chance out of the equation. Yeah, and this is actually looking like the current meta TVZ build here. So going for Hellions, and then generally a Raven, although we did see Igus go for a Banshee in his game against DemiLove. On this very map, actually. Ooh, Reaper's going to try and come through for a scout. Of course, the Reaper didn't get to see anything, so RunaMoK's being blind at this point. So he just says, I don't mind losing the Reaper, I just need to check you're building drones. So he sees a healthy drone count in the natural. He says, okay, you're not all-inning me. I don't need to start building a Banshee. And he can just, oh, wow. Yeah, this Passion Lord, he's bought himself the sexy Hellion skin.
Mad Max. I mean, StarCraft original model.
No, that's right. Mad Max copied StarCraft. Let's be real. No, but in all seriousness, like the cool thing about the Terran skins, like for the Viking one coming up, and also for the Hellbat one, is actually 2 skins for the price of 1 because they become like a different thing.
That's
when they
true.
Land, or when they morph.
Yeah, with both of them actually. That's really cool. Hellbats and Vikings.
Terran Ember ? We have 2 Hellions coming in here. There's that Ravens. What we usually expect when we see this kind of opening from a Terran. It is so common these days. It's the next step in the TVZ evolution.
Of course, the Hellions just spot where that third is. They're going to roam around, and they don't want to take too much damage from these queens. They've got to be careful. Maybe just enjoy the sights. And really, here on Odyssey, let's face it, this is the most beautiful map in the map pool. There's actually like little resorts on the very bottom and south, which we almost never get to see. But oh, he knows where it is.
There it is.
Insano knows. There's a little couple of deck chairs in the sun. Not too bad.
That's right. And it's getting a little bit heated here at this third as the Hellions are starting to rain a little fire upon it. Of course, they're not going to make that hatchery go down. They're trying to bait the queens away from the creep here. Usually you do this to try and pull the queens out of position and then hit from somewhere else. I haven't seen that Raven just yet. I know he made one. And he's got a Banshee to follow it up, actually.
Interesting. And he's going to be Cloak as well being invested in. So RunaMoK really wanting to have a good amount of air presence, putting on a bit of pressure. The Raven is working its way down the left-hand side of the map. These Hellions not going to have an armory or anything. If there's an opening, they might do a run by, but for now they just want to slow down the creep spread, poke around, make sure DemiLove can't flood out with Zerglings or anything like that.
Yeah, DemiLove's super ready for this Raven, by the way. He's got a Spore Crawl in position. Yeah.
Good turnaround.
Yeah. Don't want to go too deep on that Raven there.
It's gone back in. It is going to drop an auto turret in that main base. Does get it down, but takes a good bit of damage, and the focus fire on the auto turret is not good. Doesn't get the queen. Could have got a couple drones in that time.
Just got lings.
So, yeah. I don't think it even got lings, actually. I think it just damaged the queen. So that's kind of like, if he can kill the queen with a follow-up auto turret, it's okay. But, oh no, Banshee straight into queens. And Cloak does get down just barely in time. But so far, the defense is really good from DemiLove.
Yeah, he's kind of dotting all his I's and crossing all his T's right now. And his lowercase J's as well. We've got the extra production going down for RunaMoK, so he's ready for the next stage. I haven't seen the third CC just yet. I think he's making it at the wall. There it is.
Yeah, you know, RunaMoK is macroing up behind this. Yeah, this is really nice. I like clearing up the creep without having to waste a scan. That's fantastic if you can keep that Raven alive. However, the drone count tells us a bit of a story right now. 68 workers for DemiLove to 47 of RunaMoK. He has just been able to get up to a monstrous economy and now can simply focus on building defensive units, taking a 4th base and spreading that creep out. And I'll tell you what, on this map, Maynard, I know what Zergs have their eye on, and it's that gold base just to the upper right of where we are positioned right now. It's right in front of that third, and this is something where the Zergs actually take a bit of a loss to take this. That third base only has 7 mineral patches rather than 8 here on Odyssey. So they say, oh, I'll have a little bit less mineral mining on my third, but I get this great creep highway straight up to that gold base.
Well, the creep highway is actually being damaged a little bit here by RunaMoK. Nearly loses the Raven to the Queens. Very, very, very low Raven. He's got a bio follow-up here with 1-1. And we know that DemiLove, he is the kind of player that models a lot of his play off of the Bjol. He's obviously a contender for one of the greatest Zergs in the game right now, across all regions. And that is usually a Lingbane style with mutas and that sort of thing, which DemiLove does like to use. If you give DemiLove space, like you were talking about giving RunaMoK space, if you give DemiLove space, it's pretty bad as well. He'll take the map away from you. He'll get those mutas up in count. He'll get those upgraded melee units.
Yeah.
SCV's coming. Oh, okay. I was wondering what those SCVs are doing. I guess they're repairing the Raven.
Oh, wow. And Demi really wants to... He's actually not going for the gold base. And I kind of like this because that gold base has such an abusive ledge in front of it. Unless you get creep way out in front of it, it's very difficult to protect. So instead, he's actually going to just take the base on the south side. And there is a big push mounting up here. A lot of Hellbats, a couple of Widow Mines, Banshees, and the Raven. All very nice. And DemiLove has droned up to 78 workers. Oh, does get a Banshee. And he's just got to hang on. He's just got to buy time. He's got to make a lot of Banelings. And there we go. Just go in with a few Banelings at a time.
Yeah,
gets a couple of very nice connections.
That's right. He was looking for that Marine Ball there. Wasn't going to waste those on the Hellbats. Force pick up here by RunaMoK. He's going to actually lose the Raven as well if he's not too careful. It does go down.
Oh, very nice.
Looks like an auto turret might get a Queen here. Yeah, it does get a Queen. But DemiLove deflects and doesn't take too much damage. His worker count didn't get cut into at all. And RunaMoK's follow-up here. Oh, losing a couple of Widow Mines there on that rally. This rally is a little bit bold here with these Marines, actually.
He kind of needs to keep it up, though, right? He realizes that DemiLove has a big economy right now, and DemiLove has a fully saturated 4th base. If RunaMoK doesn't keep up the pressure, then he's just going to fall behind in that economy game. He's trying to get Drilling Claws and 2-2 behind this, but DemiLove is ahead on the upgrades, way ahead on the economy, and with that Spire finishing, Maynard, that's what you were talking about. Once those Mutalisks get out, this map is going to be underneath the Zerg's control.
That's right. It'll be business time for the Zerg, and he's actually getting ready for the next stage. After that, if it even doesn't work out for him in Tier 2, he's ready for Tier 3 with that Infestation Pit on the way. 2-2 on the way here for DemiLove. His upgrades a fair bit ahead of RunaMoK. He's going to probably deny this gold base. Yeah, there it is. But DemiLove with more where that came from. He's got a 4th base here in the south. And yeah, I mean, Drilling Claws is a very nice upgrade for BioMine, but it's going to come down to numbers eventually. It looks like he was starting a wall off here because there's a very common counterattack path for Zerg, but didn't finish it off, which means these Banelings are going to be able to roll on in.
It's a lot of Banelings there. RunaMoK, how quick will he react? Not quick enough. The Banelings...
Oh, no! Oh, RunaMoK. The entire mineral line of SCVs going down there. Oh, and not controlling the Marines at the front there. Losing some Marines to the Banelings there. Unfortunate miscontrol.
And this is that moment where RunaMoK, already on the smaller economy, gets knocked further back, and his force on the front gets pushed back as well. DemiLove able to just freely replace his creep threat. He's got 10 Mutalisks on the way behind this. He's gaining massive map control. He's taking a 5th on the south side. A beautiful defensive Zerg game from DemiLove. Just with that one decisive counterattack, puts himself in a great position.
Yeah, that's right. And if RunaMoK wasn't all in, he is now. He's trying to make SCVs. He's got 2 medevacs on the way. He's trying to get Thors as well. Thors actually coming back in the meta a little bit against Lingbane Muta, but oh, the Mutas are out, and they're going to deny this double medevac here. Yeah. Oh, man.
Big pick up there. Ooh, nice little counterattack, but no, Banelings are ready for that. You got to pick up and get out of there, RunaMoK. And he's in a bit of a desperate situation. He's trying to be efficient with these small groups of units, but he's just so outnumbered and outgunned right now. And I think DemiLove realizes it's his time. The blue horde is making its way across the map, Maynard.
And this big Tier 2 Zerg army is ready to try and put the hurt on a RunaMoK, setting in a small cluster of Lings to try and maybe bait out a mine or so, but he is actually just going in with everything here. He feels very, very confident about his position, losing a lot of Lings to the bio here at the top, and he has to pull back, consolidate his forces a little bit. DemiLove doesn't want to throw a terrible engagement here.
Oh, but he is down to his socks right now, and it is business time, Maynard. He's going to roll right on in there. The Baneling's going to go. The rest of the Baneling's going to finish morphing, and this is DemiLove's moment. I think he's going to do it. No.
Oh.
Too many Zerglings bled out there. Can't quite seal the deal. And that was probably about 40, 50 Zerglings went down for about 2 Marines when he first engaged.
Yeah,
so
that's right. I mean,
bit of a blunder.
I mean, if he does that like 4 or 5 more times, he's going to be in a rough spot. But at the moment, we have RunaMoK moving on. It's actually a pretty scary Terran army. Drilling Claws, upgraded mines, a Thor, very, very good at soaking Banelings as well as dealing with the Mutalisks. But speaking of the Mutalisks, they are looking for a juicy mineral line here with no turrets.
Missile turrets. That is huge. Going to get a few juicy SCV kills, and this is just a nightmare for RunaMoK to deal with. He's got a good supply count, but now he's going to start losing infrastructure right as DemiLove is going towards Ultralisks. I don't know how he's going to be able to both replace this and get up the Liberators and Marauder count that he'll need to deal.
Ooh, good connection on that Thor there, but of course his Mutalisks regenerate so fast. It's not too much of a problem here. He's going to kill this hatchery, but the looks of things, DemiLove's getting ready for the next stage, though, of this attack. Muta's actually taking a lot of damage from these Thors.
About 3 or 4 Mutas do go down there, but plenty of Lingbane at home to defend the 4th. As long as Demi can defend his 4 bases, he's still looking okay for income for the moment. And oh, he's going to get the 4th planetary of RunaMoK while doing these massive Baneling hits down here. He's just making it impossible for RunaMoK to multitask. He can't defend the Mutalisks in 2 or 3 locations while microing against the Banelings at the front. DemiLove is saying, you do not have an APM to deal with this. I can just click these Banelings in. I barely need to micro them. I've got the money. I've got the economy. You're the one who has to make a play happen right now.
Yeah, sending some Banelings out, looking for Widow Mines by the looks of things. Nearly gets one. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I have to echo what you say there. It just seems like he's being stretched thin. There was a hot minute there where RunaMoK actually had more army supply than DemiLove, but that engagement, like, it just... He's not getting what he needs to get done here. Every time they fight, DemiLove's been coming out on top. Except for that one engagement at his 3rd base, I suppose, where the Lings kind of just got shredded. Yeah.
Demi's just doing a great job of that throughout this whole game. Constantly probing somewhere, whether with a small counterattack or poking at the front, pulling RunaMoK's attention away and then hitting with the counterattack, or hitting with the counterattack and then rolling Banelings into the front army. And he's never going all in with it. He's never just diving his whole army in at once. So it's a very patient, just tax the Terran, force mistakes, find those trades, and in the meantime, spread creep. It's just getting across the map. The oceans, the beaches here on Odyssey are just being covered in all of this this goop, and RunaMoK is just so hard pressed to keep up. He's trying to build Liberators. He does have 3-3 on his bio, but with Ultralisks coming out, DemiLove with a nice 30 supply lead. He's looking really good.
I was about to say, what is the answer for Ultralisk here for RunaMoK? And it looks like Liberators is the choice here. He's just started his first 2. But I think you
really want a second starport, right?
Yeah, you want to be having a good production of Liberators at this point if you're not going for Ghost Tech for your anti-Ultralisk countermeasure.
Luckily, there's no Corruptors out, so there is hope for RunaMoK. If a couple of good Thor shots, some good mine or marine shots take out the Mutas, there won't be anything that really shoots up. But the numbers are still far in DemiLove's favor. He's way up in income, way up in bank, and is still slightly up in army supply as well. So RunaMoK needs to find a great engagement. And this is the hard bit. How does he get across this creep to that gold base? How does he force DemiLove to attack into a bad position? RunaMoK cannot go on creep. If he fights on creep, the Zerg are going to overrun him.
Yeah, for sure. And these Mutalisks actually breaking away from this attack here, maybe looking for another cancel on that 4th base of RunaMoK that he desperately needs. RunaMoK ferrying up into the gold base here for DemiLove. And there it is, no
Mutalisks again coming up there. And if they manage to get that orbital, it'll be huge. I think the repair's good for now. A few 3-3 Marines will chase off those Mutalisks, but even more SCVs going down and taking advantage of the distraction. DemiLove jumps on top.
Yeah, the Widowmine connection is actually getting rid of a lot of these Banelings, but there's still more left here, and the Ultralisks are yet to join the fray. RunaMoK with the best blitz of his life does not have the numbers to be able to deal with this Zerg army here. He's pulling back off creep, stimming back here. Oh, just a couple Thors, this reinforcement, maybe actually to try and slow down this fight.
Oh, friendly fire mine just took out a lot of Marines there. More Marines and Marauders coming in from the left-hand side, though. Nice ferrying on those Thors to keep them alive. The Mutas coming in at the same time. Fancy micro from both sides. The Ultralisk starting to get zapped by those Liberators. What a hold from RunaMoK.
Yeah, that was sick by RunaMoK there. I mean, he is still down in army supply and in workers, and he's struggling to get this economy sorted out, this problem that he's been having all game. He's still struggling to get to that point, but a great hold there means he does live for now, and he's going to move across here with this advantage.
Yeah, the 3rd and 4th are getting low on mining right now for DemiLove. If he can stop the gold, RunaMoK might have a window back into this game. Yes, he's down in supply, but he's got a small window right now before the new Ultras and Corruptors pop. He can maybe snipe this hatchery, but he's got to do it right now. He cannot dilly-dally, Maynard.
Yeah, he's just resetting up those Liberators here. Looks like a counterattack from DemiLove. Just going to use those lings to get SCVs here. Oh, this is actually very, very nice here.
Very nice.
And the gold will be taken out. So this is a nice pick-off here for RunaMoK.
I think he has to pull back after that, though, try and establish that base on the left. His army is partially on creep right now. All the Ultras are popping. DemiLove's army is up 30 supply right now. And I think he can pounce on this. You've got to get out of there right now, RunaMoK. You just don't have the numbers to support those Liberators.
Yeah, if DemiLove decides to go in, it's going to be a tough hold for sure. Now that there's anti-Liberator countermeasures here for DemiLove other than Mutalisks. Corruptor's very, very scary here. Oh, the mine's about to be reset. He's only going to get a few lings.
Doesn't end up firing there. The Marine Marauder can slowly clean this up. This army finally does make its way home. RunaMoK frantically trying to build new units. Unfortunately, there was Overlord dropping creep, denying the base on the left, but DemiLove is not going to give him time. He's going to jump on top of this. The Liberators aren't sieged. The Ultras jumping on top of everything. Good bio micro so far, pulling back through those liberation zones. The Ultralisks taking a lot of damage, but the Mutalisks and Corruptors snipe down every single Liberator.
Yeah, I think this might just be too much Zerg here. Oh, the Banelings hitting those very, very hurts. Bio does make this game go in a DemiLove's favor. GG. Game 1 goes to DemiLove, but that was very scrappy there. RunaMoK put up a great fight.
Yeah, I think DemiLove was in a great position from early on, but maybe got a little bit excited with that huge Zergling kind of counterattack, throwing away a lot of those lings. And this is sometimes what happens, whereas a Zerg player, you're so not used to having such a clean, beautiful early game. Yeah. And then you're like, hey, wait a second, my opponent's actually not able to put that much pressure on me. I'm controlling the pace of the game, and you kind of a little bit like, hey, this is an unfamiliar situation. How do I actually close this out? And DemiLove still did most of the things very right from there, but RunaMoK, he had a few flashes of brilliance throughout that game, so I'm looking forward to what he can bring in game number 2.
Yeah, I guess it'll be his map pick here to see what he goes for. Does he go for Abyssal? Does he go for something like that, like a bit of a Terran-y map?
Something with some ledges to abuse.
Something with ledges,
nice, yeah. that's the Terran maps, right? It's something with ledges. It's interesting because I'm eagerly awaiting the day when we have like Haas versus someone else crazy in a WCS tournament and we'll have Blood Boil actually get played.
I was about to mention Blood Boil.
It's like, realistically, I'm pretty sure one of the guys has probably vetoed it. I mean, Zerg and Terran can both kind of play it, but gold bases are usually a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, it's so strong on that map. It's
It's like... can Terran dropping on all the ledges on that map make up for the gold bases? I have no idea which one's actually more powerful. My instincts tell me a good Zerg player will be better off on Blood Boil than a Terran.
Yeah, and it is the best of 3, so you get those, you know, as many vetoes as possible, really, to be able to make sure that... 2
vetoes each.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, not likely that we'll see it. We actually don't know what the vetoes are up here on the cast test. We don't have, like, you know, the in-game chat or anything like that. We just have the observer cam, so we're not too sure what the next map will be.
But, yeah, I mean, we've still got things like Proxima Station in the pool, which I think a lot of Terrans do enjoy.
I definitely do, as a Terran,
Just, you know, the Ravens can come in from 360 degrees on all of the first 3 bases.
I just heard from the voice of God just then that is Sequencer.
Oh, yes! Sequencer is the other map, which I love seeing because it's so weird. It's big. It's got these crazy paths across it. Earlier today, we were excited to watch it, you know, when I was casting with Zeph, and Crimson just made a Ravager-Ling timing and killed Maverick and was like, okay, we didn't really
get to see the features of the map come through
there.
there.
Well, he moved across the map and then killed his opponent.
And then it has, like, the 2 most useless Zolnaga watchtowers are just like right on the edge.
Yep. You're like, okay, I got the tower. It's like I guess they're kind of good because it's so big for spotting drops.
Looks for drops, yeah.
But it's a very, very odd map, and there's a lot of half bases as well on Sequencer. You've got bases with only 1 gas and 6 mineral patches, and they're peppered everywhere, and they're much easier to take. But then you're kind of like, is it worth taking that base? Because it only gives you half the income of a normal base, roughly.
Yeah, I always take that base as my third.
Oh, yeah.
But then I realize that I'm actually like gimping my economy by accident by flooding my 3rd CC over there.
You make like 70 workers thinking normal, and you're like, why is my base so oversaturated? Like,
yeah, that's right. It's like because as a Terran with all the maps that I've had over the years, I'm so used to having my happy little triangle. My 3 bases,
right?
You know, that a lot of the maps allowed you to have, like, you know, have, and my happy little triangle gets upset by that 3rd base there. I have to make a line at the, you know.
It's so funny because I'm the opposite.
Doesn't feel right, you know.
Every game I'm on that map, I'm just like, I just want the full bases, so I don't have to change anything. I've still got, I think, that like pro gamer mentality of like, I hate change, you know. So I'm like taking my 4th like in the corner of the map just to still have a you know, a full mining base rather than the many half bases that are so easy to defend. And I'll take my 5th like smack bang in the center of the map just to have a full base. And I'm like, this is not even smart at this point. This is just being stubborn and not wanting to adapt to the new resources. But
every map should be Daybreak. Dust Towers is the best.
Thankfully, most pro gamers are very vehemently against that these days. They recognize the error of their past ways, I believe.
Yeah, it's a new age here in 2017 with that new map pool. And like I said to Zeph earlier in the stream, I actually am a fan of it for the most part. I don't have too many maps. I think Sequencer and Blood Boil are ones where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about them. But I have had a lot of good wins on Blood Boil, I must admit. Some pretty good abusable areas there. But anyway,
we will find out in just a moment how these players choose to play on this crazy map, spawning up here in the top right-hand side of Sequencer. Representing OSC Root, it is DemiLove. Like that music?
Yeah, it's very, very well timed there with your introduction. Bottom left here. From Rival, this is RunaMoK. Very edgy decal there on that CC.
Oh, yeah.
So Sequence is one of those maps where I just instantly feel like I'm going to be proxied on it if I'm like against a Terran or another Protoss.
Oh yeah.
It's just so wide, it's so open, it's impossible to scout every single location. It's just so hard.
It takes a long time. Yeah, for Overlords to get over there as well. It's one of these maps your Overlord gets there and you've already got 4 bases. And
yeah,
it's like, okay.
This would be the biggest map in the pool, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't actually measured the rush distance, but I'd say like
it feels like it is.
Definitely like main ramp to main ramp. I think it would take the longest.
Yeah, she's a big one. But yeah, lots of interesting features in this season's map pool that aren't in other, haven't been in other map pools. There's always been the 8 mineral patches, 2 gas geysers every single base. Of course, this one is got. We touched on it a little bit before the game started. A little bit different. A little bit different. There's options here, and generally, a lot of people are going to want the 3rd base location where the most mineral patches are and where the double gases is. So you can get 6 gases instead of 5, and more minerals. So.
A little bit easier to defend that 3rd as well, but I think with the 4th base is where the decision-making gets interesting, because basically you expand in a flat line along the bottom or the top of the map for your 3 bases, but then if you want the full 4th base, that's kind of right in the far corner of the map, and it's very far away to defend. So going to be interesting to see where both players take this. For now, RunaMoK just opening up with a standard Reaper opening into a factory and a 2nd gas there. Actually, interestingly, no 2nd depot on the way until after the 2nd gas. So a very fast 2nd gas. I think RunaMoK's definitely going to be looking for some airplay again, some Banshees or Ravens or that sort of thing, with such a fast 2nd gas.
Yeah, it's a very solid. It's like an. I feel like when you get 1-1-1 or something like that, it's just so solid. Like you have defensive capabilities, offensive capabilities. It's just, it feels so safe. Whenever I play a TVT, and that's like the only matchup I go for a 1-1-1 really. I just feel like nothing can kill me for a good while.
Especially on a big map like this, having the mobility of the Hellions early, right, to spot things and put the pressure on, like it just closes the gap of the distance so well. So I got to agree with you there, Maynard. This is a fantastic, solid way for RunaMoK to open. Zergling's going to come in, chase an SCV around, not really get too much done. Good response from RunaMoK so far, but he will have to pull the Reaper home to respond to that. And once again, DemiLove saying, I am going to use the same opening I use every single game. Hatch first, into Zergling speed, into that Overlord speed, so that he can scout absolutely everything that his opponents have up to. Yeah,
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's been working out for DemiLove pretty well in his games against Terran, and it's been working out in the series so far, so why change it up? It's like when you're in a tournament like this, some players are like, oh, you know, I need to be fancy, I need to go do something different. But it's like, sometimes just doing the solid thing that you've practiced the most is the best for you. And RunaMoK's actually going to pull a little bit of an Igus here. Going to get that armory up nice and early. Go for a bit of a Hellbat push.
And I think he's going to bring Marines with it as well. Yeah, great scouting from DemiLove. So he's going to bring, 3 Marines with this. And normally you hit with like just 4 Hellbats, and the 5th and 6th ones arrive kind of during the push. So RunaMoK going to be hitting with this very early on. Already a Spine Crawler down reactively for DemiLove. And I think on this big map, he will just barely have time to get that up. Nice snipe on the Tumor.
Yeah, that's a very swag move there. You just pick it off as like a drive-by shooting. You take it out and just go on home. Free damage for RunaMoK.
RunaMoK is actually cancelling the pressure. Now, this is interesting because he's forced a big response, but then he just goes home. And now he's actually going back across the map, but DemiLove is actually already sending a big Ling counter attack around. I don't know if there's going to be anything at home to defend this. He's stopped Hellion production. RunaMoK might be caught with his pants down. He's coming up. He's going to poke at the 3rd, but not really achieve anything. And a massive Zerglings run into the exposed natural.
Oh, this does not feel good. A lot of these SCVs are going to go down. It's not actually pulling any of the SCVs just yet. The Mules are going to go down for sure. And these Hellions and Reapers are going to be... they got their work cut out for them if he thinks he's going to get a 3rd base kill here.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble right now. He's still got that armory. I'd love to see him morph Hellbats on the aggression, but he's just so thrown off on the defense right now. He doesn't have anything at home. Like I said, he paused Hellion production. So what are you going to do, defend this many Zerglings with 3 Marines? Well, apparently he's going to have a go at it, but I don't think it's going to work out too well. And his Hellions all surrounded on the front. Massive pickups here for DemiLove.
GG, good luck. And that is a bit of a... anticlimactic end there for the series, but unfortunately, just mistakes like that are not going to let you... You will never come back from a mistake like that against something like DemiLove.
DemiLove there showing calm, controlling play throughout the series. Overlord speed every game, calm responses, Zergling counterattack around the backside, which he was planning to do as the Hellbat attack hit him, which is such a great maneuver against this. DemiLove there played splendidly. RunaMoK unfortunately caught unawares and does take the quick hard loss there.
Yeah, so that means RunaMoK unfortunately gets excused from the tournament, but that does mean that DemiLove, all you DemiLove fans out there, I know that there's a good cluster of you, will be seeing that player going through to tomorrow's bracket, and I think that is actually all done and dusted for us here for day 1.
I believe so. We've had a couple of good matches, a few ones which went a little bit pear-shaped, but I've got to say my highlight of today so far was right at the start, Probe versus Mio Maiko was actually an incredible match, was really close, and a near upset there for, you know, the young up-and-coming Vietnamese player.
Nearly saw the champion of Season 1 go down. But guys, we're going to look at the bracket quick before we close things out and just talk about what we saw for today. So we saw this a little bit before, you know, before RunaMoK and DemiLove started. That's the upper bracket here. And this time we'll get to look at the losers as well. But we see that Probe and see that is going to be a hype match tomorrow. Oh my god. Igus Crimson, that's a very, very old school matchup. I'd be favoring Igus pretty heavily in that one. Crimson hasn't been able to find the answer against Igus for a while here. But they will be decided to see who goes to that winners bracket final. It's kind of looking like, oh, it could be, I'm feeling like it's going to be a TVT or a TVP. I'm feeling like it.
Absolutely, and it's a fascinating thing to see who will distinguish themselves out of the big three of Australia this year. But down here in the lower bracket, you guys can see Mighty Kiwi versus Peppy and DemiLove versus NXZ. So
ZvT heaven down here in the lower bracket.
Zerg versus Zerg. Lots of Roaches, Zerglings, Banelings, and Mutalisks, no doubt. Oh, I'm excited to cast those matches, man.
You cannot wait, Pig, for those Roaches. We got so Mighty Kiwi and Peppy. We've got a couple. We've got a New Zealander here against Peppy, the Australian, DemiLove, the Indian, against NXZ, a previous Premier League player, managing to make it through the qualifiers in one of the biggest upsets I've seen in a while. I can't remember who that was against.
Yeah, I'm not sure. All I remember is that, you know, he seems to name himself Ryan Premier League Jones ever since then. So, of course, back in 2015, he did knock me out then in Challenger and went over and played against Harstem and some other players over in the studio in Europe. Had a good run.
There's a bit of cheeky banter, and Harstem did promise he did come through on his promise with NXZ, and you know, sorted him out pretty handily there on that stage of Burbank. But that is going to be it, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in for day one. Same time, same place tomorrow for the round of 8, all the way through to see who goes through to WCS Jönköping. And of course, the grand final will be played for thousands of dollars. It's going to get hyped, guys. Do not miss it, and we'll see you then. Take it easy.